Welcome to another episode of Behind the Scenes with Becoming Retail. This is the fourth part of a five-part series where we're talking about the 5 key trends that retailers and brands need to keep an eye on to be successful in the future. And today's topic is the retail ecosystem being rewired. In fact, 60% of retailers said that they're going to expand their partnerships in the future. And partnerships is really a big word, but we've noticed 3 key trends when it comes to retail partnerships, either with brands, even other retailers, suppliers. So we're going to dive into what we think are the most important partnership trends going forward for the retail industry. And the first being the rise of the marketplace. So retailers, traditional wholesale buying products, selling it, are now allowing third-party sellers on their digital platforms. Amazon was certainly a pioneer there with their Amazon Marketplace, and others are following suit. We have Walmart Marketplace, Target has a marketplace. So a lot of these marketplace relationships are because they allow for the extension of product selection, tends to be a more profitable transaction for the retailer, and because there's more selection, you can drive new consumers to your website. So it's definitely a win-win for the retailers to add a marketplace component. And what I talked about previously was just marketplaces that really focus on an endless aisle, building out millions of SKUs. But there's another tactic, which is to take a more curated approach. So Urban Outfitters has UO Market, and that is a curated marketplace where they select the vendors specifically for their website. So that's a topic that I've been fascinated by for probably the past 5 years, and we do see it growing in prevalence. But Rob, what else are you seeing in the realm of retail ecosystems and new partnerships?
Yeah, the curated marketplace, Michelle, is super interesting to me as well because it's really focusing on the brand specific customers, those loyal customers, and extending the assortment and the loyalty. So like you mentioned, Urban Outfitters, we've seen it with J. Crew as well. You kind of expect it from the big box retailers, the Targets, the Walmarts, and so forth, but seeing it from the specialty area really, really is fascinating to me. Another area of partnerships is around collaboration between retailers. And this was for years and years like a no-no, right? We want to kind of hug our own customers. We don't want to open that up to anybody else that might be a frenemy or a full-on competitor. But you're seeing it in the beauty industry, right? In terms of what Ulta and Target are doing, or what Sephora and Kohl's are doing. Both of these launched in August with their shops within a shop. Also, you're seeing it with the Gap and Walmart. Gap launched their new home line within the Walmart for walls and virtual space as well. And it's not just retailers teaming up with other retailers. We're seeing some other interesting, really creative partnerships. REI partnered with Hip Camp, so you can get services around the camping experience when you go into REI or go to their website as well. And you're seeing this especially also in brands that typically would go it alone. LL Bean is a great example. Go into Nordstrom, you see some really great merchandise. You go into Staples, back to school, you're seeing LL Bean backpacks as well. So, these ecosystems being expanded to create this loyalty and really at the end of the day, enhancing the customer lifetime value, but also really solving problems on behalf of the customers, even if it wasn't traditionally in the categories that retailers would really focus in on the past, has been fascinating to me. So Michelle, why don't you bring us home on this topic?
Yeah, definitely. The REI Hip Camp relationship and partnership is right up my alley. You can book your camping site and get all of the gear that you need, as well as a lot of educational material that REI has built up over the years. So Really transformative, fascinating partnership, in my opinion. But yeah, to take us home, we have one last trend that's really gained a lot of traction in the past couple of years, which is retail media networks. So retailers are building out their own advertising platforms for brands and maybe even other retailers to buy ads on. Again, Amazon leading the way with Amazon advertising, but Target, Walmart certainly joined the fray pretty recently. 2020, we saw an acceleration of that with Macy's, CVS, Walgreens, Ulta, also launching their own retail media networks. And just this week, Gap hinted at that they have their own media network. So even that vertically native, vertically integrated apparel specialist thinks that there's a space for them to play and have advertising on their digital platforms. And another key thing, especially with Walmart, they've made it known that they don't just want the advertising on their digital platforms, but also in stores as well. So they're offering an omni-channel advertising experience, which is really fascinating because the store is still very important to transactions. And so those are the key three trends that we see within this major trend of retailers expanding their partnerships and collaborations. It's definitely a space that we're going to keep an eye out on. And we appreciate your time and tuning in today for Becoming Retail.